breaking the wall to diverse thinking through chemistry and art. Bob Chrysler, Atelier Labs, University of Leicester, United Kingdom.
A quick question for you. What do you think is in the box? Don't tell me, don't tell me. Hold your ideas in your mind. Does it change if I do this? Is it more restricted, perhaps? I would like to invite you to imagine a world where diverse ways of thinking through chemistry and art are celebrated, unlocking new possibilities. For young people with special educational needs and disabilities, or SEND, as it's known in the UK, they may have very little verbal communication. Some may only be able to communicate with the movement of an eye or a change of breath. And so science can seem inaccessible. Science is seen as restrictive, fixed and formulaic, action leading to reaction in predictable, predetermined ways. Science can seem as risky, handling dangerous chemicals, taking precise measurements, using equipment not designed for disabled bodies. And science isn't a mandatory part of SEND education in the UK, seen as secondary to areas such as literacy or mathematics. See, too often in education with young people, we focus on predetermined outcomes, right or wrong answers, removing the joy by removing the sense of wonder that learning can unlock. But science is not predictable. Science is all about imagination, the what-ifs. Atelier Labs unlocks the world of science for young people with SEND by collaborating with artists, scientists, young people in SEND schools and their teachers to explore the creative side of chemistry, asking questions of the world around us. We might start with a simple science experiment, mixing plaster of Paris in a sealed plastic bag or gypsum plaster. What if a young person decides to add paint to the mixture? What if a young person gets fixated with the sensory experience of the heat created by the reaction? Another simple experiment, making a lava lamp in a plastic jar with water, food coloring, oil, and a fizzy vitamin tablet. What if a young person decides to explore the lamp with a torch? What if we replace the water with tonic water that glows under UV light? What if? What if we build on one area of interest, light and shadow, exploring the world around us with a torch and our place in it? What then? What other opportunities for questioning does that unlock? Simply, how do we enable divergent thinkers to become architects of their own learning? We start with a simple provocation. We observe the results and we respond. We reflect, asking questions. What is this young person learning in this moment? What do they want to know more about? And then we build on those areas of interest so that we find out more about the unique learning experiences of every individual child, with each engagement experience being new and unique in itself. Now, since 2021, we have unlocked the world of science for over 100 young people in SEND schools in the UK. We've convinced 6 SEND schools to put science back into their curricula, even surprising the most experienced of teachers. We continue to share our learning through the free Atelier Labs toolkit, and we forecast that just from the current program, over 6,000 young people with SEND will experience science. And we're continuing to grow with 2 new Atelier Labs residencies starting in 2024. Now, we've learned a lot in that time, but it's not been without its challenges. One of the schools we work with, for example, is a secure mental health facility where young people may seek to harm themselves. And that restricts the types of materials or activities we can safely take into that setting. Some of the young people that we work with may have unique sensory ways of experiencing the world. So in a session exploring the properties of sand, a young person was fixated on feeling the sand with their lips and tongue rather than their fingertips, which jars against accepted wisdom of what you should and shouldn't put near to your mouth. So we have to constantly ask ourselves, is this safe? Is this okay? What if a young person decided to put this object in their mouth? And these challenges can seem like restrictions, but in reality, they unlock new areas of learning, infinite new possibilities. I mean, what if we made all of our materials edible? What if we used a plastic jar instead of glass? What if, what if, what if? What if diverse ways of thinking were celebrated and continue to unlock infinite new possibilities? What then? Thank you.
First of all, great talk. I love your enthusiasm and a great project. Can you expand a little bit on the question of didactics? So, I mean, you're talking about what if new ways of learning, but is there some, let's say, science to the way your new approaches of teaching are received? Do you measure this?
Yeah, so, I mean, we've only had 2 real major residencies at the moment. Because we've only been going for a couple of years. It's part of a wider program of work. I suppose for us, the major focus on what we're looking at is, art is a big part of my background. And I'm passionate about art in education, science in education, not just to create scientists, but to help us understand the world better, to help us understand each other better. And so for us, the major measurement really is, what are the young people developing in terms of those wider skills, So we look at things like their self-expression, their confidence, their communication, their personal agency, their engagement and learning. So many of the young people that we work with will have limited time in education because of medical procedures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the more we can engage them in what's happening there and then, and we've seen that spike through the roof from the feedback we collect from teachers, from the observations that we record. Really interesting, unique, new things happening every time.
Project description, you mentioned that your project is targeting special education children. So what if, for the special education, I mean, in your presentation, I didn't hear how much is specially designed for the specially educated children.
Absolutely, yeah. So, as I say, special education presents challenges because each setting is different, but that means that then we have to be adaptable and creative. And I think that's where the idea of scientists and artists working together, that kind of slightly chaotic, upsetting the calm waters of a school setting, means that we can go in, we can take in materials that are safe for that setting in collaboration with the teachers, but that also still deliver that true scientific content. So colleagues from the University of Leicester School of Chemistry make sure that we're not dumbing down any of the material. There is constantly that high quality, the formulas, what's happening in each reaction, what are the products from each of those reactions that are happening in the classroom. We make sure that science content is there because we don't know whether or not the young people are absorbing that, and we shouldn't make the judgment that they're not, just because they can't tell us that they are.
Yes. Can you expand a little bit about the impact assessment? How do you know the effects?
Yeah. So our major focus on impact is our bespoke evaluation framework that sits alongside a wider program called Sensory Atelier. And so as part of that, observers from different schools, different teachers, different arts educators, a team of observers go into different settings and look at what's happening in each of those schools against those different criteria. So we're looking very closely at the way that the Reggio Emilia approach to education works, and a lot of our foundations of the kinds of young people or the kinds of qualities that we're trying to enable, our evaluation framework is based around that.
Thank you.
Thank you.